Well, good morning everybody and welcome to the SAUG Summit for 2010. My first guest here this morning in the interview pod is Dennis Lewis. He's the CIO of 7-Eleven. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
Now, you've been here in years previous. What are you looking forward to this year?
This year I'm really looking forward to just having a view of what other people are doing with SAP, particularly probably in the business intelligence world.
Right, and why is that? What's the appeal of business intelligence?
We've made a significant investment in BI with SAP, and it's been very successful for us, but I think it's one of those things that it's a never-ending journey.
That's right.
So it's always good to see, well, what are other people doing with BI, and are there things we could learn, are there opportunities for us to further leverage the investment we've made?
Well, now BI is a bit of a sleeper subject. This has been kicking around for a long time. Do you have a sense that there's a revival of interest in BI?
Very much so. I think, certainly from our point of view, we implemented the whole SAP Retail BI suite 18 months ago. POS Data Manager, the BI Accelerator, BI 7, been very, very successful for us. And what I'm finding fascinating is that very often the benefits that we're finding are not the ones that we banked when we did the project. We're getting the benefits we thought we'd get, but we're finding lots of other things that we just never thought of.
Okay, and why is that? What's the upside that you've discovered?
Well, I think it's because you've now got a tool that, like, we've got 140 users using the BI system at various levels of sophistication. So it's a tool that's actually out there in the business users' hands. So it's allowing them to actually do their own analysis rather than the bottleneck of relying on IT to provide them with reporting.
And so does that mean you've shut down Excel as a BI tool?
No, I'd have to say that. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It might mean that most of the data that's going into Excel is coming out of a fairly rigorous BI environment.
Okay, and what results are you seeing then?
Well, some examples are we've done some significant work in the last 6 months with the POS Data Manager product and the analytics. And actually the results we're getting in terms of loss prevention, to be honest, would have paid for the whole project in its own right if we had done absolutely nothing else.
Wow.
Just we're finding such significant value in being able to analyse the data at levels we've never been able to before.
Now, of course, 7-Eleven just recently acquired the mobile stores around the country. Or was it all of them?
We're in the process of acquiring. I mean, the actual changing controls planned for the 4th of October. So we're in the transition stage at the moment. It's approximately 300 stores, of which we will probably end up converting about 250 to 7-Eleven stores.
So what's the first challenge you face with a situation like that? Clearly you're going to have a whole bunch of legacy technology and data that you're going to have to deal with.
There are probably 3 challenges, I think. The first one is exactly that there's an organisation that on day one still has 300 stores doing exactly what they're doing today. And how do we make sure that the business processes that support that continue to operate? Some of which we inherit legacy systems to support, some we don't, because they're currently services provided by ExxonMobil, which we don't get as part of the deal. So there's a lot of work around how do we replicate processes we don't get, and how do we make sure we can continue to support the stuff we do get. And then the third leg is planning for how do we convert a very large number of stores in a very short space of time to 7-Eleven stores.
And so how many people have you got working with you on this team? It sounds like this is a fairly...
We're only a small IT team, 20 people, but pretty much the entire team at the moment is working on transition activities. So we've more or less shut down any other projects other than a couple of really critical things we want to continue with, one of which is in the business intelligence world, interesting enough, while we do this. But the value I think we get out of what we've done previously is we have a landscape where we're running the latest version of ERP, we have BI, we have XI as an integration layer, we have all of the POS Data Manager capability. As we convert stores, it's very straightforward because it's just like opening new 7-Eleven stores. So even though we might be doing 5 or more a week, really, as long as it's more an issue of have we got enough licenses and have we got enough grunt to actually run it.
Yes.
It's very straightforward.
And
the number of years of work previously now pays off, if you like.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you've got a fairly stable SAP environment. How's that going to help when it comes to the switchover? I presume there'll be, at some point for each of the stores, a fairly hard switchover.
Yeah, it's absolutely, as I say, it's really like opening a new store for us. So we would convert the store to a 7-Eleven, so all the 7-Eleven banners will go up, complete refit of the store, Slurpee zone, munch zone, all the things you expect to see in a 7-Eleven store. And part of that we put in our Radiant point of sale, connected up to our broadband network, and really from an SAP perspective at the back end it's just another store number, off we go.
Yeah. Now,
make IBM and SAP very happy in the process, but in terms of buying more hardware and software licenses, but that's really, it's just as straightforward as that.
Now all of this is of course the traditional on-premise software and the systems that you're using, your own data center presumably.
Well, IBM's data center actually, host all of our production systems in their data center.
So then talk to me about the cloud, that's the buzz, and software as a service. This has been a direction for SAP, and they're starting to make more and more noise about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I guess in this current equation we didn't even think about it, because we have like 3 months to make everything happen.
So you extend the systems you've got?
Yeah, so we just, to try and figure your way through what that would mean, find somebody who could do it, negotiate the licensing that would require. It's just, when you've got 3 months to do a transition, so we haven't even considered it. Where we are considering it is much more about in the commodity world. As we grow and grow, and we look at the desktop, and we look at automation for our people out in the field and things like that, I think there are a lot of opportunities there. And
so does commodity
mobile CRM world?
Right.
I think it's unlikely we would, in the short term, even think about moving, say, our ERP or BI systems into the cloud.
Well, that's the big hairy question, isn't it? To what extent can you go down that path? I mean, it's easy to talk about email and calendaring, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's about as much as we're looking at the moment. And maybe virtualize the desktop.
Right.
But to be honest, I mean, all of that right now is on the back burner while we munch our way through this big elephant we're dealing with at the moment.
Yeah, well, it sounds to me like 7-Eleven's really almost coming of age. You're sort of taking in some of these mobile stores. Tell me about the strategic direction of the company.
Well, clearly our strategic objective is, as we've always stated, to be number one in convenience in Australia, in the markets in which we operate. We are only on the eastern seaboard, and we will continue to operate in those markets. This will take us, I think, to number one in terms of most measures you'd look at in that market. I think we're a bit unique in the market because we see ourselves as a convenience store that sells fuel, not a fuel brand that has a shop, if you like.
Right.
And I think there's an important differentiation there.
Does that mean you can sell your own shopper dockets? The fuel discount.
Yeah, we don't, but absolutely we could. Yeah, we've done some quite innovative things, I think, in terms of integrating virtual products into our environment. So you can go into our stores and buy lottery tickets, and there's no lottery terminal on the counter. It's completely integrated with our point of sale, talking directly to either New South Wales Lottery or Tattersalls, generating the random numbers and printing the ticket. That capability of having those sorts of things integrated with our pods gives us some interesting opportunities in terms of clever promotions and virtual products.
So it sounds to me like you're trying to be all things to all people. Is that the idea?
It'd be great if we could. The challenge with that is, how do you tell everybody? One of our biggest challenges with getting products out there is, how do you tell the consumer that you've got it?
Yes.
So we have to be quite focused on what are the things we think our customers want and are going to relate to, and focus on those.
Okay, so just in closing, tell me about some of the things that you're looking forward to at the summit. There's going to be quite a few keynotes over the next 3 days. There's lots of people to meet here at the event. Do you have any particular technology areas that you'll be looking for information on?
I think the main one for me is mobility.
Right. How
do we get our SAP capability into the hands of people that are out in the stores? I'm quite excited whether tablet PCs suddenly give us an opportunity to do something clever. Where's that going? Yep. So that's probably my major interest at the moment.
What about RFID? That's an issue that's been a bit of a sleeper in the technology space for a long time. Supply chain, that's got to be a big area for you?
It is, but most of our supply chain's outsourced. So whilst we manage it, and it's important to us, we don't manage it at a sort of shipping cartons and pallets level. We outsource that with either Metcash or Swires cold storage. So I guess we watch with interest, but we're not driving the agenda with them. I mean, they have their own logistics capability. I'm sure they're looking at it with interest, but it's probably not something that we would try and direct them on right now.
Okay. All right, well, Dennis Lewis, CIO at 7-Eleven, thank you for joining me here in the interview pod this morning at the SAUG Summit for 2010. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the conference.
Thank you.